Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. Today we are of course, as always, talking wrestling news, and there is always plenty of wrestling news to share. We're going to be diving into a few different areas at the moment. We're going to be talking The Rock's return to WWE, or The Rock's not return, depending on where you're sitting. We're going to be talking Rhea Ripley and her legitimate injury, John Cena not wanting to break Ric Flair's record. We're going to be talking a possible triple threat match for WrestleMania, Vince McMahon's potential entertainment company that he's apparently looking to launch. We're going to be talking the hiatus for the Young Bucks, a little bit on the growth of the channel over the last few months. We're going to talk Chris Jericho and how important he is to a Ring of Honor TV deal, the launch of the WWE ID system, a little bit on some comments from Cody Rhodes, which will be interpreted as body shaming, as well as finally asking for a little bit of help from you guys to determine some favourite storylines that the WWE has given you that I can potentially use for a brand new video series, which will be starting at the beginning of next year. That is an incredibly large selection of different things, all of which we will be covering in very short order. We'll also be answering as many of your questions as we can, reading out as many of your comments as we can. This is a very interactive show, but we start with our top story. There's already 46 people here. Remember to hit that thumbs up. Let's keep it going. Dave Meltzer has doubled down about being wrong about The Rock not appearing at WrestleMania. Now, The Rock was not originally planned to appear at Bad Blood. That was opportunism at its finest. He was local and just happened to be there at a convenient time, so the WWE reached out and took advantage. The Rock did not arrive until very late in the day, and there were a number of emergency plans in place. But the WWE were confident he would be there, and that's why the main event was changed to the Bloodline match. However, The Rock has been planned for many months now to make an appearance on the first Raw on Netflix. This is where he will kick off his WrestleMania storyline against Cody Rhodes. The Rock is already said to have promised Cody Rhodes the biggest feud in WWE history. The Rock has promised Cody Rhodes the biggest feud in WWE history, and I'm interested to see how that one comes together. Now, Dave Meltzer today reported that The Rock had given no confirmation whatsoever that he would be making any appearances at WrestleMania. I can state with absolute confidence it has been months since The Rock gave an absolute promise that he would be there for WrestleMania. I can confirm wholeheartedly that is what the plan is, and that is what is going to happen. We're going to catch up with the chat now before we get to our next piece of news on Rhea Ripley's injury. Declan says, hi Tom. Welcome, Declan. So it says, what wrestler do you want to meet that you've never met? AJ Styles will be a lot of fun. I've got a lot of questions for him. Daniel says, hey Tom. Welcome, Daniel. Everton says, who do you expect the Motor City Machine Guns to face next? I'd imagine there will be a rematch with the Bloodline, because after all, the Bloodline are likely going to be angry at Jey Uso. Declan says, what triple threat match at WrestleMania? More on that shortly. Rickan says, do you see WWE signing Zilla to the ID system? More on that shortly. Everton says, who are the favourites to win tomorrow? The Temu Bloodline or the OG Bloodline? At the moment, the betting averages put the Temu Bloodline, as you've described them, as the most likely to win. Daniel said, is SmackDown tape tonight? Yes, it is. Joe says, Tom, my favourite storyline that the WWE have done was the Cody Rhodes story. Is that the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns feud, or is it just Cody Rhodes and his general existence? Declan says, speedy recovery for Rhea Ripley as a fellow Australian. Sid says, Lita and Edge storyline you should use. That's a good shout. And note that one down. Lita, Edge, live celebration, and just a general story, because there was a lot of Kane in that one. And I've already got like Kane versus Shane McMahon, because that's going to be fucking hilarious to talk about. Absolutely magnificent. And why would you turn that down? Alex says, hey Tom, Baron Corbin has tweeted it out. That's all she wrote, folks. It's been real and I appreciate everyone who supported me. Do you know anything about it? That sure as hell suggests that Baron Corbin has left the WWE. Would explain why he's not really been used very much recently. Baron Corbin was a favourite of Triple H and of Vince McMahon for a long time, but it sounds like maybe since 2020 and his feud with Roman Reigns, he simply doesn't have any fans left in that locker room. A shame. I think he's a very good guy. Steve says, is Rhea's eye injury a shoot or a work? I know Dave/SRS are reporting it as a shoot, but I don't know. I've been a fan for 20 years and I smell a work. More on that shortly. Robin Dave says, hey Tom, I'm here. Welcome Robin Dave. We've got 60 people here now, but only 14 likes. We can do better than that. Give us a thumbs up. Calvin says, what's up Tom? Did you watch the Crown Jewel kickoff? Who was that with Kevin? Nope. I don't watch anything that comes out of Saudi Arabia. It's my own personal protest. Dominic says, hi Tom, do you know the status of Nakamura? You're going to have a watch party tomorrow. Hi from Texas. No, not at this point. Personally, it looks like he may be wrapping up. As regards the watch party, no, not with any intention. I do not cover anything Saudi Arabia related. That says, big up Tom, will Modern City Machine Guns have a match in a pay-per-view? At some point, I'm sure they're there for the long haul. Ed says, hi, welcome Ed. And Daniel says, hey as well, welcome Daniel. Erin says, hey, hi Tom and hi chat. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome, Erin. And Declan says, watch the pig. Cecil says, I watched the kickoff show today and to say Triple H looked and sounded so not excited about being in Saudi. Calvin said, what shocking twist do you see happening tomorrow night? None. We don't really get shocking twists anymore. Daz says, watch the pig as well. Welcome, Daz. Spider-Ball says, hello, Tom. Do you know if there'll be more talents that will join Mercedes and Camille? At the moment, no, but long term, I suspect yes. The other Mike says, I don't get fans boycotting Saudi shows. All governments dabble in blood money in one way or another. If you're going to boycott one, boycott them all. Yeah. As a man who stood in front of a union conference in Brighton and requested that the union lobby to take action against my current government selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, yeah. So this is my protest, and I'll protest however I please. Declan says the Ronda versus Becky storyline was great. I agree with that. I'm going to throw that one in there. Becky Lynch versus Ronda. You know, I'll also actually put Charlotte Flair's name in there, because at the very least, that will make for some entertaining moments that we can tear down a little bit. Guy says, is Vince Entertainment Company going to be wrestling related? More on that later. Everton says, Wrestling Observer reporting Cena might face a world champion at Mania. Is that Gunter? More on that later. Calvin says, I'm surprised most people don't remember Shane and Kane's feud from 2003. Yeah. Spider-Boss says, according to WWE on social media, Rhea suffered a fractured orbital bone. More on that shortly. Lisa says, Tom, you have no choice to cover tomorrow's pay-per-view. Break your own rules. I have every choice in the world, and I'm not going to. This guy says, how long has the NXT Bubba Ray plans been in play? Any chance he turns heel on Trick to extend his time in NXT? No idea. Haven't heard anything about this one. Spider-Man says, I see the new bloodline will win. Jimmy Uso will take the pin. Okay, Daz, I am as well. Calvin says, I know it won't happen, but do you think there's a sign that A-Town Down Under or Apollo Crews will leave or be released next? I'm not planning to speculate on releases. Aled says, Sean Ross just said, WWE departures incoming. What that essentially means is someone's already informed him that they've been released, and they've immediately sent messages to him. Will be interesting to see if anything does happen over the next few minutes. I might need to change my title. Backwards says Edge versus Cena in 06-07 was a killer feud. Only briefly took place for a championship, as I recall. Spider-Boss says, my favourite women's match on Saudi pay-per-views was Mercedes versus Becky versus Bianca from 2021. Ray says, I think Baron Corbin will go to TNA. Let's wait for confirmation first. Gotcha, Joe. Joe also says, what about the story when John Cena first came to WWE, had his match and made fans happy? That's not a storyline, that's one match. Declan says, what will the women's war games going to be now that Rhea's injured? I don't believe there was ever confirmation of a women's war games just yet. Ray says, Daniel Bryan and Kane, Team Hell No storyline. That could work. I could work with that. Team Hell No. I'm also going to throw Shield debut in there. Debut to break up, because that could be fun. That could be very fun. Next piece of news. Rhea Ripley is legitimately injured, has been reported by numerous outlets, originally reported by PWInsider. WWE are not confident she'll be back in time for the Royal Rumble because of the nature of the injury and not wanting to take any risks with a potential facial injury. That said, if correctly nursed, they do believe she should be an option for WrestleMania. The intention was to write her off as soon as possible without forcing her to travel. She essentially did her storyline on NXT as a way to make sure she didn't have to pop up on Raw or SmackDown. The intention was that she would be wrestling Raquel Rodriguez at Crown Jewel, what what happened instead was we got the 4-team tag team match for the women's championships. Essentially because they couldn't get 2 women on the card, they got 8 women on the card, which I think personally is a very good thing. They will be looking after her from here. She is one of the most highly paid and most highly decorated women on the roster, and they need to make sure she is okay. However, what I will say is that all of their plans for the Raw Women's Division were built around Rhea Ripley. Wiggly says, what up, Tom? Welcome, Wiggly. And Lisa says, Matt versus Edge, real life feud with entertainment. That's also a good shout. Love it. Edge versus Matt Hardy. Absolutely fantastic. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Your favourite storylines, I want to hear them. I want to take note of them. And then I want to use them in future. Wiggly says, I see the crown jewel belts will naturally go home with the champ. Instead, they'll be presented with a crown jewel ring. Yes, they will. Backwards suggests CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, which could certainly work. I like that. We've got Punk already, but we can always do more. I just want to know what the popular ones are. What do you like? I'm actually going to put Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus, not because it was popular, but because I think I could rip the hell out of it and it'd be quite entertaining. And why not? This guy says Baron Corbin tweets he's no longer with the company. Is that a second tweet then? Confirming it. Michael Winston says WrestleVote said WWE is going to revamp Damian Priest's character. Also mentioned using the mask he wore at Mania. Have you heard anything? Thanks, Tom. At this point in time, yes, I've heard a little bit, but not too much. Essentially, as I've already reported, the WWE are concerned that the Damian Priest and Finn Balor entire feud has gone very, very dull and very, very boring. They're trying to get you more excited. I do believe a small revamp of Damian Priest is called for. Calvin says, I'm not surprised Corbin left. Triple H only used him when he needed someone to job until he finally had enough, just like A-Town Down Under. Declan says, could Becky return to fill Rhea's spot? No. Spider-Boss says, without Rhea on Raw, it wouldn't surprise me if WWE bring back Becky. It's not up to WWE, it's up to Becky. Chris suggests Rock versus Mankind. Also a good shout. That one was a lot of fun. And absolute carnage. And lots of serious damage. I'm also going to throw an Undertaker versus Triple H. End of an era. Because why not? That'd be fun, innit? Wiggly says favourite storyline and then goes into one I've never seen before. King Hazard says The Rock versus John Cena once in a lifetime. Not sure there's much to work on there because The Rock just wasn't there. Lisa says Rhea Ripley injured. Probably keep the champion of Liv Morgan until WrestleMania. Yeah. Backward says that's a shame. Baron Corbin was so underused. I agree. I was a big Baron Corbin fan. Declan says Becky and Seth versus Baron and Lacey. Again, it's a match, not a feud. Alan says Tegan Nox is departing WWE and will be a free agent in 90 days, per Sean Ross Sapp. I think we've spoken about this at length. The WWE, particularly Triple H, didn't trust that they could use her. That one, unfortunately, does not surprise me. Spider-Boss says, surprised me, Priest lost to Dominic. Do you see Dominic challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight title? No. This guy also confirmed Tegan Nox's release has been confirmed by Sean Ross Sapp. Please do keep them coming, guys. When it comes to these releases, I'm going to change my title to reflect what is going on there, because you kind of have to. WWE releases Baron Corbin and Tegan Nox. So that's an update there. Also, naturally, the follow-up, we should look for a decent picture of Baron Corbin and change our thumbnail. Yeah, again, Alan, I don't think that really surprises people too much when it comes to the Baron Corbin of it all. I never really felt like Triple H got behind him, which is a shame because there were moments when the guys were connecting. I'm a Baron Corbin fan. I think it's a real shame, this. I do think there were moments where he was championship material and he just never got the opportunity to really do anything about it. So I will be getting to the next piece of news very shortly. We will still get through all of this. Don't you worry about that. I'm just going to get an image of Baron Corbin. There it is. Put a new title on it. WWE releases. That needs to be smaller so it'll fit on one page. Change the colour. to one that you can definitely see. That's gone wrong. Control A. Back color. Oh no, that's the wrong one. That's the one I changed. Sorry guys. I realise it probably isn't the most exciting, but I'm trying to get through this as best I can. Okay, we have ourselves a new thumbnail. So I'm going to update the live stream with that as well, so that people know what they're getting when they click this one. This is obviously a breaking story. It is going to take precedence. We will still get through all of the news that I have to share. Don't worry about that, okay? Don't worry about that. We'll still get through all of the news. So next thing I want to cover, we will continue to get through the chat. Don't worry about that. Next thing I want to cover, John Cena. There's been conversations, news coming out of Wrestling Observer that the WWE are looking to get John Cena in a feud with one of the world champions. I can confirm at this point there is a discussion about John Cena versus Gunther for WrestleMania. They are going through a number of different names right now to try and work out what is the ideal option for John Cena at WrestleMania. What I can say, as I've been reporting previously, is that John Cena does not want to break Ric Flair's record for most World Championship reigns. WWE may or may not have spoken about having him involved in a World Championship match with Gunther, but the man himself, John Cena, has no interest in making a championship win happen. So even if the match happens, and I do still think Drew McIntyre will be the guy, I have no suspicions of what's going to happen there. I just don't see it happening. Okay, so I can see Rickon saying Indy Hartwell has been let go. Aled also confirming that one. Please do continue to share and double source as best you can as well, please, just to make sure that we're getting the right information out there. I'm just going to share on Twitter as well, so that everyone knows where we are. I can share it. There's a link. We are live now, talking active WWE releases. Okay, so that's out there. Going to drop the link in the chat for anyone who would like to share it. I'm going to pin that at the top as well in case anyone does want to share that. This could then, of course, become a place where we can let go a little bit and share our frustrations, because there's got to be plenty. There's got to be plenty. Okay, so keeping up with the chat. The other Mike says, if Rock is fighting Cody at WrestleMania, when does the Roman Rock match happen the year after? Declan said Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. Again, while I feel that is one match rather than a feud, I would say that that feud was the making of Steve Austin. A lot is made of Austin versus Mr. McMahon, but I would say Steve Austin versus Bret Hart is where we really got started. Ray suggesting Stone Cold versus The Rock. Personally, for me, that was very much an extension of Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon. Spider-Boss says, without Rhea, I think it could help to refresh the Rhea versus Liv rivalry. I agree there. Allied bringing in more news, also sourcing via Sean Rossap. Thank you kindly. Corbin's contract expired. He isn't signing a new one. That's why he's leaving. I'd imagine he communicated that to the WWE fairly recently, which is why he has not been used. Wiggly suggests Sting versus Hulk Hogan, which was not in the WWE. Calvin, unless you've got any source to back that up, please don't speculate on that. Razar says, seems like they're doing releases. That's unfortunate. I thought they stopped doing those and let contracts expire. There is still an element of that. It seems as though right now, with the Netflix deal about to come in, Nick Khan's flexed his muscle a little bit. Steve says, Nixon Newell is a free agent now. Not yet. According to Sean Rossap, it will be 90 days. Lugan Crest says, hi Tom, as a theatre girly, I would have to say my favourite storyline is the Bloodline. Since that's a very obvious answer, I'd like to give an honorary mention to Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria. Declan says, Samantha Irvin is still on the active roster on the WWE website. Give it time. Barry says, if you go on Wikipedia and look for Welsh women's wrestlers, Tegan Knox is the entire list. Yep, pretty much. Could do Ed, but I feel like that's pandering to emotions. Backwards says Sting versus NWO. Wiggly suggesting Bulldog versus Brett in the build-up to SummerSlam 92. Brayster says, hi Tom. Welcome, Brayster. And says he forgot about Tegan Knox. Unfortunately, no, Lisa, I would not joke about talent being released. Declan suggests Seth versus Triple H. Wasn't very good for me. King Azza says, I love Corbin as bum-ass Corbin. He was entertaining. He was. He absolutely was. It's a real shame. Aled says, SRS just said WWE told him Indy, Tegan and Corbin are the only ones. Surprising. I'm surprised by that, but I'm certainly not complaining. There must be something going on. Hector says a win over Cena would still be huge even for someone like Gunter. Yeah, quite possibly. Though not as much as it used to be because, John Cena, not really the big deal he was. Steve says, can we confirm these releases or is that just a leak? I will be reaching out as soon as I can. I've not received any messages of confirmation as of yet, but I'm live, so I'm not really able to. Spider-Ball says, Rhea's injury happened just when the Rhea versus Liv rivalry froze. Now who do you think could be Liv's next opponent? There wasn't really a plan for Liv's next opponent until the Royal Rumble, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Rickan, for confirming. Old Ladies Guy says, hey. Hey, Old Ladies Guy. Lugan Crest says, I'm a little sad WWE didn't push Corbin harder. I really liked his short partnership with Bron Breakker. It made Bron seem like an actual person. Uncle Howdy says, how many people did WWE release? Sounds like 2 at the moment, and one person's contract came to an end. Joe says, I think the Sami and Kevin Owens story was very good. Which one? There's been many of them. Ray suggests Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. If we're doing that, we would have to say it was actually Hulk Hogan versus Ted DiBiase. Uncle Howdy says there are more updates on Omos. No, I don't really know what you're asking about there. Spider-Ball says one of my favourite storylines is Sasha Banks, Mercedes Money, versus Charlotte in 2016, and Roman versus Brock. I will not be touching Brock with a 10-foot barge pole. Sasha versus Charlotte, though, another good shout. Bracey, your membership has not been paused. I will be getting into more detail on this, but at the moment, there is actually no active monetization on the channel. I will be getting to this, but let's just say we broke a big record. So that's the main reason for it at the moment. Wiggly says, I quite enjoyed Jericho versus Regal in the build-up to WrestleMania 17, where Jericho did a few interesting things to get back at Regal in the build-up. Feels a bit lowbrow. Everton says, is Kevin versus Sammy planned for Mania? Not that I know of, no. Calvin says, I'm predicting Tegan will go to AEW. Personally, I'm not. Wiggly says, Sting versus Triple H could have been so much a better feud, or what could have been. Spider-Boss says, a victory over Cena doesn't help much anymore. Solo Sikoa and Austin Theory defeated Cena and didn't do much for them. No, not really, not anymore. Hector says, it really sucks they couldn't find something for Corbin to do. He had one of few remaining finishes in wrestling that actually finished people and weren't always kicked out of. There was only one person who ever kicked out of it, and for me, that felt like the beginning of the end. Aled is confirming. Fightful said only these 3 in this round, which suggests more rounds are coming. Bracer says, are you coming back to PWTorch, Tom? No. I left on a high. I'm happy with my work there, and I'm happy to have my weekends back. Steve says, I heard on another channel, the name slips me, the Maple Leaf Pro is partially funded by AEW. Have you any insight, or does that smell rumourish? Smells rumourish to me. Specifically when AEW is part funded by a different parent company. Hello, Noob. How are you? Declan suggests Charlotte versus Becky. Could work with that, though once again, that's more than one feud. Joey says, hey, Tom. Welcome, Joey. Ray says, Nick Nemeth says he wants Joe Hendry to get another shot at the TNA title. Brings more eyes to him as well, to be fair. Mike Kennedy suggests a core, but that's not really a feud, that's a team. And Spider-Boss says, Becky versus Prime Ronda Rousey would have been a great match if WWE would have wanted. And the WWE did want, but apparently Vince didn't want all that badly. We have 100 people here watching, only the 35 likes. If we can keep those thumbs up coming, we will keep this show growing. So please do consider helping out with that. In the meantime, next piece of news. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan at this point makes the most sense for WrestleMania. I posted this on Twitter, and my God, a hell of a lot of people have decided that I'm the Antichrist because of it, which is funny. Now, the reason I'm saying that is that there's a concern that when Becky Lynch does return, she might have some ring rust. With Rhea Ripley injured, she is likely to be at a little bit of risk as well. And unfortunately, that means that the champion, Liv Morgan, would be under a lot of threat. Let's say a triple threat. That for me makes the most sense. It would be the perfect way to slot Becky back in. Becky would still be on Raw upon her return. She was drafted. So we'll see how that plays out. Personally, from where I'm sitting, that makes the most sense. And that is a match that I can see happening. Pardon me. Dream says Indy was surprising, Tegan wasn't, and Corbin is a head scratcher. Joey says, why did Corbin get called up? If they had no creative plans, NXT could have used the help, because they had no creative plans in NXT either. Spider-Boss says, Rhea versus Liv versus Becky, who takes the pin? Most importantly, do you see Rhea winning back the Women's World Championship? Don't know, cannot speculate on the result, because they're still in conversation about it. At the moment, Martin, and I will go into more detail here, at the moment the channel is not monetized. It's because we hit a target and I wanted to celebrate it, and I wanted to make sure that I'm not charging people for the privilege. The memberships are temporarily paused, but to be fair, members only stuff is now freely available. So yeah, at the moment that's what we're doing until the beginning of next year, but there's a reason for it. I will go into it very soon, don't you worry. King Arthur says, what about the Sasha versus Bayley feud in NXT? NXT feuds don't really do it for me. I still remember a feud with Bobby Roode and Andrade where Bobby Roode said, nice head. And then they feuded, and that was that. The First Gaming says, Corbin confirmed his release. Appreciate that clarification. Bracelet says, makes sense, you did go out with head held high. News says, Indy Hartwell is leaving WWE. She's very entertaining with the Garganos. Unfortunately, they just didn't use her. No, Dominic Cannon will not be coming to Texas for a show. Chris says, what about Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan? Again, good shout. I considered this one. And then, honestly, anything Bray Wyatt I want. I've already got down, for example, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. I know it's not necessarily a popular one, but it'd be a fun one to cover. Charles Game says, you mentioned the first Netflix Raw before. Do you know when they're going to announce the location? It'll be a little while yet. They're still putting things into place. Alyssa says, how is Gunter Heavy beat Cody Rhodes Crown Jewel, be Cody Rhodes Secondary Championship? Aaron says, the DIY Gargano versus Ciampa NXT feud was great. Very true. Very long. Very worth the mention, I think. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Works for me. Declan says, a second triple threat for Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Chris Leclerc says, where does Tegan Nox go after their 90-day compete clause is up? At this point in time, I don't think she's put any feelers out. We'll see what happens next. Lisa says you can do Liv versus Lyra or Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. Still have enough talent in the Raw Women's division. Very true. I think there's a lot more to being a wrestler than being able to be thrown through a table, mate. Sid says the YouTube stream is working perfect. Thank you, Sid. Joey says, I wonder if Tegan will still wrestle. She's been plagued with injuries. Martin says, massive congratulations on 9k. Well deserved. On to 10k now. More on that very shortly. Hector says, I could see Corbin kind of going the Matt Cardona route, doing a bunch of independent bookings because I know he's been vocal about participating in Bloodsport. Rob says, any chance Corbin was one of the leakers? There's always a concern and a possibility. Lisa is worried about Omos. Barry says, I've known decades-long family feuds start with less than someone saying, nice head. Joey is worried for Vinci. Chris says, tonight is Indy Hartwell's last match. Is she wrestling tonight? Alex says, I fear that Shotzi will get released. I fear for the worst. Spider-Boss says, quoting a friend, WWE has the ability to make people get tired of certain talents. Liv was doing well until WWE paired her with Dom. Liv's entire title reign has been more about Dom versus Rhea instead of Liv. Everton says, will Tiffany cash in tomorrow? No idea. Alex says, I think Corbin goes to AEW for sure. I think they'll do well with him. And Alyssa says, betting odd Cody Rhodes loses Crown Jewel. This guy says, do you expect a Candice singles push on SmackDown? No. And Sid suggests Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, which is fair. I've already got Triple H versus The Undertaker. For some reason, I didn't think about Shawn Michaels. Silly. Versus Undertaker. Because that's good stuff. That was good stuff. And I do think we can make something of that. Next piece of news. And it's a big one. We are talking Vince McMahon. There is talk now being released, particularly by PWInsider, of Vince McMahon starting a new entertainment company. Though what I will say is that Vince McMahon's new entertainment company is not ready for launch by any means, and is said to depend upon an endorsement from the potential next president of the United States, Donald Trump. Yeah, unfortunately we have to get a little bit political here. There are rumours that McMahon essentially went to Trump on his hands and knees looking for a pardon, but given the way the polls are facing, this company will likely never launch. Vince McMahon and The Rock still have a strong relationship, and The Rock apparently was contacted not long after previous rumours started that Vince was planning to start a new wrestling company. But The Rock chose a TKO and WWE offer instead, and I don't believe he's likely to have regretted it. For me, I don't see a Vince McMahon company launching, and honestly, from where I'm sitting, I can't see a world in which they need that to happen. Vince McMahon, for me, can go away and he will not be missed. Declan suggests Mick Foley versus The Undertaker. Christopher says Indy Hartwell's teaming up with Candice LeRae against Naomi and Bayley tonight on SmackDown. Pre-taped, of course. That'll be a shame. So again says, do you expect WWE waits until after the Rumble to announce that Jordynne Grace has signed, or will they do it shortly after her TNA deal is done? She can't sign unless a deal is done. Finished, so at this point she's not signed. Alyssa said, do you see Goldberg showing up at Crown Jewel? I think so, personally. Lisa says the man is sick, but Mr. McMahon versus Stone Cold is one of the best storylines ever. Spiderboss says, seems WWE never had plans for Indy Hartwell. Indy got called up to main roster when she was NXT Women's Champion, and WWE didn't do anything with Indy for months until now, before she got released. KJ says, hey Tom, welcome KJ, good to see you mate. And Everton says, do you expect Jey Uso to move to SmackDown permanently now in the feud of the Bloodline? No, I expect him to move to SmackDown permanently early next year. A quick one before we get to personal news. The Young Bucks are taking a hiatus from AEW, I can confirm that, but this is a normal situation. The Young Bucks work limited day contracts and have done for a number of years, and they've taken considerable time off in previous years as well. There is talk of it potentially being a shoulder injury. I haven't heard anything on that. All I've heard is that the Young Bucks regularly take time off, and this is just a continuation of that. Alex says, fantasy book, where do you think Baron goes to? AEW, Ring of Honor or TNA? I think he'll be getting offers from all over the place, and I am very eager to see where he goes next. Mike says they just had Indy dress up as Chelsea Green. Yeah, she was enjoying life. Can't imagine she's happy about it at the moment. There we go. Did not expect that message. Okay. Personal news. On October 10th, so 22 days ago, we hit a record 7,500 subscribers. 7,500 subscribers. And for me, that was me happy for the rest of the year. I was thrilled. I was exuberant. I was satisfied. It's been one hell of an achievement. However, that's not where it's ended. There's a chance, and as it's happened, it's successful, that we'll end today's show at 9,000 subscribers. Now, in reality, we've actually gone above and beyond that already. We are currently sitting on 9,021 subscribers. So in the last 22 days, we've gained 1,500 subscribers, which tells you how well things are going. Also, 2 days ago, we broke the 1 million view figure that I was trying to get to by the end of the year. 1 million views. We did it. We smashed it. Things are going extremely well. Now, things are going extremely well, and there's a chance that we'll end the year with more than 10,000 subs based on how things are going right now. So let's talk next year. You will notice right now, monetization is turned off. Simply because at this point, I'm satisfied with my achievements for the year. We'll still be doing spoiler warning, we'll still be doing shorts, we'll still be doing all the things you've come to know and love, but I don't want to take money off you. I don't. I want to celebrate for the next 2 months and consider a reshuffle of the channel. Some of the shorts I've been uploading have gotten great views, but I want to add more. So what I'm going to be doing is taking some of what's already up there, adding some commentary to it. At the moment, I've got a lot of stuff that's happening, a lot of stuff that WWE are uploading. Let's add some transformative stuff to that. Let's add some commentary. Let's add some analysis. Let's get myself on there and more involved. Shorts are nice and easy for that. You just record something, stick it at the end, and maybe record a voiceover. There are multiple different ways to make it happen. Also, beginning of next year, I'm launching a brand new long-form series, which hopefully will be of interest to all of you. That's why I'm asking for your favourite storylines. I will take WWE storylines and give them what I'm aiming to be a comedic retelling. A little bit of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of dumb jokes that will hopefully get quick, easy laughs out of everyone. I'm also trying to make longer videos on that basis. My target is to get them between 20 and 30 minutes each and upload one per week until I essentially run out of ideas. So we're looking at next year's targets. 20,000 subscribers. That's my target for next year. 20,000 subscribers. You want to talk views? We hit the 1 million this year. Let's go bigger. Next year, I want 5 million views. And what I'm going to try to do is get them mostly on the live shows here and on the long form videos. Because while shorts are getting a hell of a lot of views, they are not exactly making me much money. So, those are the targets. 5 million views. 20,000 subs. And a slight pat on the back for me, because I will not be taking a penny from any of you until we get to that new year. Okay? That is my promise to you. So that's where we are. Hector says, Tom and chat, the Mania season on the horizon was there. A Mania match build that you enjoyed more than the overall card itself. For me, it's Taker versus Kane built to Mania 20. It was creepy and well done. Interesting. Hector is asking a very good question. What is a WrestleMania match that you enjoyed the build-up more than the match? Callie says, hi Tom, hope you're well. Doing very well, thank you, Callie. Sid said the Big Boss Man versus the Mountie. Lisa says, I guarantee this. Any talent still working with WWE will probably be worrying about getting released. I wouldn't say all of them. Noob says, there's evidence that the Young Bucks were shredding those documents on AEW this past Wednesday. Spider-Boss says, the Young Bucks takeover storyline slowly went downhill after Blood and Guts, and now Moxley's group is taking over AEW. Seems the Young Bucks storyline didn't work, but they will be relaunching just like I will be. Mike says, do you think Jay and Jimmy getting back together was rushed? Yes, but I know where they're headed. I reported months ago where we're heading, and you can very much see it. Calvin says, I cannot wait until SmackDown goes 3 hours. So done with multiple superstars never being featured. Certainly Triple H will be glad of it as well. Martin says, that's amazing. Your goal has been achieved. Well done. Well deserved. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. It's been a hell of a ride. I'm thrilled with what we've been able to achieve. Lugan Crest says, congratulations, Tom. Thank you, Lugan Crest. And Callie says, well done to you. You are smashing it. Thank you, Callie. Declan says, congratulations, Tom, as well. Steve says, will the former members only content be marked such that we know what to indulge in? Sorry, bear with me one sec. And it's all marked members only in the title. Or just membership content. There's a playlist, membership content. Check it all out. You can see what you've been teased by and missed there that you might enjoy. It's just open for everyone. Mike says, as a YouTuber, what's your opinion on Adam Blampier? Probably shouldn't be messaging all those people. Let's just say that. Lugan Crest says, that sounds fantastic. I'm trying to eventually get a realistic target that I won't hit. The 5 million seems like it's going to be it. Spider-Boss says, I never imagined saying this, but the Raw Women's Division and the SmackDown Women's Division need Becky and Charlotte back. For months, the Raw Women's Division has been about Rhea versus Liv, and SmackDown has been about Nia and Tiffany versus Bayley. You are not wrong. They have the women, they're just not using them. Calvin says, if A-Town, Down Under, Apollo Crews and Giovanni don't get let go, I really hope Sean does plenty with them in NXT. Again, I need you to not speculate as to who might be let go. That's not what we do here. Daniel says, who do you think will dethrone Cody Rhodes? Randy Orton. Spider-Boss says, the build-up of Becky versus Ronda versus Charlotte was much better than their match at Mania 35. Spider-Boss also says, Corbin's biggest moment in WWE, his rivalry versus Roman, and delivering the end of days on Becky in 2019. Yeah, pretty much. And Robin Dave says, congrats. Thank you, Robin Dave. Little more news on AEW. Chris Jericho, as I've reported previously, is someone that the creative team are focusing quite a lot on in order to essentially ensure that they got the good TV deal and to bring back ratings. I'm told that Chris Jericho has also been vital to any attempts to get a Ring of Honor TV deal. There are offers on the table and Chris Jericho's name was being mentioned. The offer on the table does include the use of more star power. It's also one of the reasons Athena is apparently being held as an exclusive Ring of Honor talent, with the intention of being that bargaining chip, that you would have exclusive Ring of Honor talent that have the name value to match. I expect to see more names used as Ring of Honor exclusives in the near future, including faces like Samoa Joe, who has been mentioned. Ring of Honor is expected to be a separate and individual brand, which Tony Khan hopes can compete with NXT as their developmental section over time. At the moment, I don't believe it's competitive, but in the future, they are hoping that it will be. Man says, back to listening, mate, as I'm driving. Not being ignorant, but I know you won't think that. I won't. P.S. I think Corbin would suit TNA more. He'll get lost in AEW for me at main event level. I'm confident Nick Nemeth will be putting in a very good word for him as we speak. Spider-Boss says, I'd rather give a good storyline to Mariah May rather than give TV time to Jericho. Well, you can absolutely get both of those on different brands. No worries, Sean. Welcome to the show. The WWE ID system has been formally announced. It is said to be, from sources within WWE, a blatant attempt to farm any talent with serious potential, ensuring that talent are fed into the WWE system before they can seriously consider a career in a company like AEW or Impact. WWE would then be looking to expand their deals with TNA and smaller companies using a loan system designed to starve non-WWE related competition. WWE would be looking to use and expand their deals with TNA and smaller companies using a loan system designed to starve non-WWE related competition. So yes, they will be announcing a lot of people who've been signed to that company and to that section in short order. They will then be essentially forgotten for a number of years until eventually turning up in NXT. Sean, as regards Rhea Ripley's injury, rewind to 10 minutes into the video, it's all there. Shaw Game says, congratulations, Tom. The rest of wrestling media should learn to be more like you, make the entire community more fun than toxic. Thank you, Shaw Game. That is a very generous thing to say, and I appreciate you for it. Cody Rhodes has gone a bit of hot water with the WWE and with WWE fans for body shaming. This was in an interview in which he was making comments about ensuring that you look the part in WWE. Personally, I get what he's saying. Your body is your brand. However, there is a real genuine pressure in wrestling environments to use things like steroids. So I do feel he could have phrased it a hell of a lot better. I've struggled to get any confirmed names for people who do take steroids in either WWE or AEW locker room, though the AEW locker room is said to be more open and honest about certain people who use them. Spider-Bell says, is Keith Lee still under AEW contract? Yes, he is. Sean says, I can't remember the podcast he said it on, but Bobby Lashley said he wanted Bianca in the Pride. He did. He also wanted Naomi. We've spoken about this quite at length. Mike says, WWE needs to stop mentioning Dusty. Makes me not root for Cody. And Aaron says, starving all of the competition doesn't sound like a great idea. The WWE historically, when it comes to competition, do not engage in good ideas. Tristan says, Tom Wilman, the Goldberg and Gunter match take place. I'm not sure on this one. We'll find out at some point soon. We have been live for 45 minutes and we are going to wrap up there. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's joined us. A massive thank you to everyone who got us to the 1 million number and who got us more than 9,000 subscribers. We started this year with just under 6,000, and we've absolutely flown. So, I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.